Hi everyone, today we are going to be working on lesson 4.8 in our Go Math materials. Zeros in the product is the title of this chapter. So we're going to be working on this lesson together. We are still multiplying decimals, but this time we're looking at some zeros in our answers, okay? So we're going to be at the top of page number, I'm not sure what page this is, let me see, page 277. So we're at the top of page 277 where it says unlock the problem. So it says here, when decimals are multiplied, the product may not have enough digits to place the decimal point, okay? So you've heard me say we use 0 as a placeholder, right? When we don't have a number besides the digit 0 in a piece of our product, that means that we have to use 0 as a placeholder, okay? And you're going to see us apply that during this lesson. In these cases, you may need to use additional zeros as placeholders. I want you to underline that. You may need to write additional zeros as placeholders, okay? That's exactly what I just said, okay? So we're going to look at a problem where this is going to make more sense. Students are racing typical garden snails and measuring the distance the snails travel in 1 minute. So a typical garden snail looks like the one in the picture down here at the very bottom of the page. Okay, so that's just like a garden snail that you'd see outside. Okay, Chris's snail travels a distance of 0.2 feet. Okay, so 0.2. That's not very far. Jamie's snail travels 0.4 times as far as Chris's snail. How far does Jamie's snail travel? So we're going to break this problem down. We're going to look at the information that we need to use, and we're also going to figure out what we're looking for, okay? So it says right here, Chris's snail travels a distance of 0.2 feet. I want you to underline that. 0.2 feet for Chris. I'm going to use blue. Jamie's snail travels 0.4 times as far as Chris's snail. And I want you to circle the word times. Okay, that is the key word there that tells us that we are multiplying. Okay, how far does Jamie's snail travel is what we're looking for, and I'm going to go ahead and underline that in green. Okay, that is the information that we are looking for. Okay, so we know that we're multiplying because it said 4 times as much. Okay, and it also told us to find the product. So we are multiplying 0.4 by 0.2, okay? So it says multiply as whole numbers. We can do that. They've actually done that for us over here in this section. I'm just going to box it in so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So they have 2 times 4, which we can do mentally in our head. 2 times 4 is 8, okay? So they've multiplied it as whole numbers, saying that our product is going to have 8 in it, but we're going to have to place some zeros as placeholders, and I'm going to talk to you about that. So it says to determine the position of the decimal point in the product. So we can look over here, and I'm going to use blue. We can look over here at this problem, and we can see that the decimal point has to move 1 spot, 2 spots, okay? So we know that the position is going to have to move the decimal point 2 places, okay? So it says to place the decimal point, so we're going to just take our answer here and go 1, 2, that's where our decimal point would be. But we have to add a 0, and I'm going to use red as a placeholder here, okay? As a placeholder here. Now the other place that we're going to have to add a 0 is at the beginning. Because there is no whole number, it is proper for us to place a 0 before the decimal point. Okay, now obviously if there was a whole number like 1, 2, 12, 17, 495, we would not put the 0 there, but since there is no whole number, we put a 0 as a placeholder. So down here where it says, on step 3, so Jamie Snail travels a distance of, I'm going to use black again, 0.08 of a foot, okay? 8/100ths of a foot, okay? That's not a very long distance, okay? So today we're multiplying, but we're also seeing where we need to place zeros as placeholders, okay? All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. Save this. All right, we're on page 278. We're gonna look at a few more examples together. So at the top, I want to look at the example first, then we might do the try this part. So the example says, we're multiplying money this time, okay? Multiply 0.2 times 0.30. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna multiply it as a whole number. So our whole numbers here are 2, whoops, sorry, I've hit a button, there we go, 2 and 30. So 2 times 30. And we can easily do that in our head because what we can do is we can say, okay, 2 times 3 is 6, add a 0, which makes it 60, okay? And then over here off to the side, they've actually stacked it nicely for us already. We're gonna go ahead and work through that problem together, and we're gonna get our answer, which will include 60 in it. Then we have to determine where the decimal point will go and how many zeros we have to add as placeholders. Okay, so 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 0 is 0. Cross out anything we've used. And the next piece is pretty easy because 0 times everything up there is just 0. So we don't even actually have to do it. That's the beautiful part about it. Now we have to determine where our decimal point is going to go. So I'm going to use red to show you. So we start here because this has the decimal point in it, and we move it 1, 2 positions. There was no decimal point. Oh, just kidding. There is 1 right there. I was mistaken. So we have to move it a total of 3 times. 3 times, okay? So we're going to start at the caboose, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Place our decimal point. So our answer is decimal point 060, but we do have to add another 0 as a placeholder in front of the decimal point because there is no whole numbers. So we can go down here where it says, so 0.2 times 0.30 is 0.060. And we also have to add the dollar sign because we were dealing with money. Okay? The other thing I want to point out about this is anytime there's a digit and a 0 after it, so for instance, in this problem, we have our 6, then we have a 0 directly after it, you do not have to include that 0. So we could rewrite this as, and I'm going to just write or, 0.06, and that is still an acceptable answer because after the 6, we have no more numbers, no more digits, okay? All right, let's go down to this part where it says try this. So it says to find the product. The great thing about those directions is we see the word product and we automatically know that we're multiplying. Okay, we are multiplying. So to find the product, we are going to go ahead and first of all look at this as whole numbers. So let's just look at our digits. We have a 2 and we have a 5. Okay? We can easily do 5 times 2 in our head, which is just 10, okay? Gives us kind of a rough idea of what our answer is going to include. And then we're going to stack these and actually do the math, okay? So we have 0.05 multiplied by 0.2, okay? Let's go ahead and do the math here. 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 more is 1. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, we can cross out everything we've used, like the 2 and the 1. The next digit is just 0, so we don't even have to worry about that. What we can do now is we can just place our decimal point. We have to determine where it is and place it. I'm going to use green this time. So we're going to go over 1, 2 there, and 1 more there. for a total of 3 spaces. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, place our decimal point, and we have to add another 0 as a placeholder for that whole number in front of the decimal point. Because there is no whole number, we have to add a 0 there. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next page. All right, on the Share and Show page, which is page number 279, we're going to look at a couple of these together, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to have you work on 1 or 2 maybe on your own, and then we'll go and look at our practice and homework. After you've watched this video, completed your practice and homework numbers that I assigned at the very end, you're going to go back to our classroom and you are going to submit them on our classroom page by hitting the purple Submit My Homework Answers button, okay? All right, here we go. Let's take a look at a few of these together. Let's see. I want to look at number 5 first, and we're going to kind of skip around on this page. So number 5 is a great problem because we can see already that we have to move our decimal point quite a few times here. One thing I want to tell you is they stack your problem for you. So they have 0.09 multiplied by 0.7. So they stack it for you, but we have to place the decimal point and add zeros as placeholders, okay? So one thing I want to look at first of all is let's not even worry about a decimal point. Let's worry about those numbers that we see. So we see 9 and we see 7. Well, what is 9 times 7? 63. Okay, we know 9 times 7 is 63 because that's basic math that we're doing in our head. Now let's place our decimal point. We see we have to move it 1, 2, 3 spots. 1, 2, 3 spots. Place that decimal. We also have to add our zeros as our placeholders, and I'm going to use blue to do that. So we add a 0 here as a placeholder and a 0 in right before the decimal point because we do not have a whole number there. Okay. All right, let's look at number 4. This one's money. Okay, this one's a little different. So we do have to include that $sign. So we have our numbers 5 and 8. Well, we can easily do 5 and 8 in our head, right? 5 times 8 is 40. So start by writing that. Then we're going to look at our decimal points. How many places are we moving it? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Place our decimal point. We have to add our zeros as placeholders. So we're adding a 0 here and in front of the decimal point because there is no whole number. Okay? One thing I want to tell you is with this problem, this is kind of like the one on the page before this. See how after the 4 there's a 0 and there's no more digits? That means that can go away. We can drop that and we can write our answer as 0.04. Of course, make sure you put your $sign. Okay? I want you to go ahead and work on, I'm going to give you 2 problems. You're going to pause the video, work on them yourself, then come back and see if we get the same answers. Okay? I want you to work on number 8 and 10. Okay, work on those 2 together. And then come back, pause this video, do those problems, come back, and we'll see if we got the answers together. All right, you should have paused this video. You should have worked on those problems. Now we're going to do them together and see how you did, okay? So let's look at number 8. We have 5 and 3. Well, we know that 5 times 3 is 15. Right? 15. Now we have to place our decimal point and possibly add zeros in the product if we need placeholders. Okay, I'm going to use red. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3 spots. 1, 2, 3 spots. Add our decimal point. And we do have to add 0 as a placeholder here. And in front of the decimal point because there is no whole number. So your answer is, I'll just write it in blue actually, 0.015. That is the answer. I hope you got that correct, okay? Let's look at number 10. Here we have 1 and 4, or 40 really, right? 1 and 40. So let's write that down. 1 times 40 is just 40. We'll write it as 40, okay? Then we're going to move our decimal point 1, 2, 3 spots. 1, 2, 3 spots. Add that decimal point. Then we're going to add, sorry, the bell's going off. We're going to add 0 as a placeholder here and in front of the decimal point because there is no whole number, okay? So we have 0.040, okay? Now this is one of those ones where we can drop the 0 at the end. We can take that 0 off and just drop it. Reason why is because there's no more numbers after it. So we can just write our answer as 0.04 with the dollar sign because we are dealing with money. Okay? All right, I think that we are on the right track here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I want to go ahead and assign your homework problems for you. So we're going to start on page 281. I'm going to circle the problems that I want you to complete. You are going to complete those, and then you're going to go over to our classroom, click on the purple Submit My Homework Answers button, and you will submit your homework answers that way, okay? There's also a video to help you if you're unsure of how to do that. All right, I want you to work on the problems that I circle here. Let's see, I want you to work on 2. Oh, whoops. 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and let's see, 14 on that page. So 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 14. Then on the next page, which is page number 282, you are going to work on 2, and I also want you to work on number 3. 2 and 3 on that page, okay? 2 and 3. So again, on page number 281, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 14, and then 2 and 3 on 282. If you have any questions,